We'll be starting in just a few minutes, but I wanted to welcome you to our first ever virtual visit. My name is Shakina Lumcox, and I'm the Talent Development Manager at Benefits Data Trust. Today, you'll be hearing from an array of incredible people behind BDT's work. As someone who works closely with our team of almost 300 employees, I can confidently say that our staff is our most important asset. In the last year, our team has grown in so many exciting ways, and we were voted a 2021 top workplace, which I am so excited about. Although we can't invite you to our beloved office in Philadelphia, we are so excited that you've joined us here today. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our CEO, Trooper Sanders.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm so pleased that you are joining us. This past year, as we all know, has been both extraordinary and challenging. And I'm really proud that my colleagues and the entire BDT organization has really risen to the challenge. We were not only doing our day job and our normal work of helping people get connected to benefits, but then, of course, we had a pandemic and an extraordinary economic downturn that really created the perfect storm of challenges all across our country. And I'm proud that because of the work that we've done with many of you, amazing and dedicated public servants all across the country, our supporters, our community partners, and others, that we rose to this moment and we met the challenge. I'm proud that we submitted more than 93,000 benefits applications in the past year. We helped streamline benefits access for millions of people. And as we all know, these challenges remain with pandemic and economic uncertainty, joined by the structural challenges of economic inequality and somehow being able to turn the vision of racial equity into an enduring reality for everyone. And let's not forget that we are also living in a time of great structural economic change with automation and the rise of technology that creates uncertain futures, not only for people who are struggling, but for the middle class as well. And with all of this, ensuring that our benefit system works and that everyone who is eligible for benefits and wants them is able to get them efficiently and with dignity is so important. And frankly, it's one of the big solvable challenges that we can all be a part of, and that I'm proud that Benefits Data Trust is right in the middle. Now, so many of you all know a lot about our work. We talk to you all the time as we're working together. You read our reports. And so I'm just really excited that you'll get to meet some of the extraordinary people behind the magic that we do out in the country. So thank you so much. Welcome to this virtual whistle-stop tour of BDT, and I'll see you later. All right, Mitchell, take it away.
Thank you, Trooper. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Mitchell Bloom. I'm a development manager here at BDT, but more importantly, I'm acting as your tour guide today for your virtual visit. Before we jump in to meeting people from teams across BDT, we wanted to give you a broad look into BDT's culture. Before the pandemic, welcoming partners like all of you to our office was always an awesome opportunity to see our mission-driven staff in action. Culture at BDT is tangible. It's something that when you're walking through the office, you got a taste of who we are and what we're about. So when the pandemic forced us to become a virtual organization, keeping our culture intact became one of many important challenges. To be intentional about preserving the culture in a virtual environment, BDT created a cultural cohesion committee comprised of individuals from across the organization. Here to tell us a bit more about what exactly that means is Kayla Gaskin.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Takiva.
Hi, Mitchell.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. So as Mitchell mentioned, my name is Kayla Gaskin, and I am a contact center manager here at BDT. I've been with BDT for about 8.5 years now, starting off as a benefits outreach specialist, or BOS, assisting clients on the phones, and ultimately obtained the contact center manager role. I would first like to start off by saying that it is a pleasure to have the opportunity to speak with you all today about something that is so dear to my heart. And today I'm here to share with you BDT's culture and discuss the cultural cohesion working group that was formed after the organization went virtual in March of 2020 last year. So specifically today, I'm going to talk to you about what cultural cohesion means to BDT, why BDT continues to choose it, and how BDT relentlessly works to ensure its success. Now, when discussing BDT's culture, we often use this phrase, secret sauce. And when asked to speak about our culture today, I thought to myself, what are the ingredients to BDT's secret sauce? Because it's the secret sauce that separates us from any other organization and entity. It's the secret sauce that we have that makes this organization so professionally and personally gratifying. Our secret sauce is the reason why so many employees refer their family and friends to work here. And it is the reason why people leave BDT for other opportunities, but yet somehow find themselves back here again, happily, might I add. So what are the ingredients to BDT's secret sauce? First, it's how the organization continually chooses its people first. We do this by investing time into our staff, by having dedicated hours of space for every single employee to not only focus on the day-to-day of our work responsibilities, but to also have a place to focus on professional development and a safe place to speak on whatever is on that person's heart that day. We choose our people first by following science rather than government decisions around when it's a safe time to return into our office. We choose our people first by publicly acknowledging that we stand with our Black and Brown employees through such troubling times. The second ingredient to the BDT secret sauce is the decision to dedicate focus and emphasis on our culture. In the wake of the pandemic, the Cultural Cohesion Working Group was created in a time where we found ourselves needing to literally pick up shop and disperse into hundreds of homes. So the questions we have to ask ourselves were, one, how do we bottle up this secret sauce and not lose what pre-COVID hires knew our culture to be? And two, how do we ensure all post-COVID outbreak hired staff truly believe that our culture is what we say and feel and know it to be? So this leads me to the how. How is BDT ensuring continued and modified focus on our culture in a virtual setting? This is where the Cultural Cohesion Working Group was constructed. The Cultural Cohesion Working Group is creating and or highlighting opportunities to help apply aid to these 4 organizationally impacted areas. The first is values commitment. How do we maintain our commitment to our values without the physical proximity and with the influx of so many new people? We can do this by first ensuring knowledge of BDT's values. This can be encouraged through tying our values to shout outs we give to one another in both Slack and off-staff meetings. Our second area of focus is cross-department understanding. How can we increase cross-department understanding and camaraderie through intentional spaces? This can be done through monthly department plan lunch and learns, where each department gives an overview of what their department's main things are that adds to the overall success of our mission. The third area of focus, professional development. How do we enhance opportunities for professional development by creating intentional pathways? We can do this by offering cross-department mentorship programs. And the Cultural Cohesion Working Group's last area of focus is social isolation. How can we reduce sensations of social isolation caused by the loss of spontaneous team learning and support? And this is done by putting some focus on our staff's mind, body, and soul, by sharing resources and routines to help center oneself, by leading with weekly midday stretching sessions, and planning and attending virtual happy hours just to have a moment in time where we can all reconnect with one another as we once did before the COVID outbreak. To end my time here today, I want to share with you a quote from one of our BOS in regards to our culture. I have never worked at a place where you can feel the culture oozing out of my computer screen and speakers. I am so happy that not only I chose BDT, but BDT chose me. And I think that this really sums up who we are as an organization. No matter what role you are in, whether that is entry level or CEO or the board, we continue to put such importance on us as people in our culture. This is what makes BDT stand out and above all others. I'm so excited for you all to meet some of the great people I had the honor of working with here at BDT today. Thank you.
Thank you, Takiva.
You're welcome.
So one of our hopes for today is that honestly, through this experience, you all feel some of that culture oozing out of your screen and your speakers. For the rest of our visit, we're going to spend time with people from specific teams here at BDT, all of whom work together to harness the power of data, technology, and policy to provide efficient and dignified access to assistance, improving people's health and financial security. We're going to start with our partnerships team. Now, more than likely, almost everyone on this call today has engaged with someone from our partnerships team at one point or another. BDT's work is not possible without the collaboration of our many incredible partners like all of you. So joining us now in BDT's lovely library space is Nija.
Hello.
Hi, Nija.
Hi,
How are you?
Mitchell. Good, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Naja Newton-Famous, and I am the Senior Engagement Manager here at Benefits Data Trust. So when I tell people I'm an engagement manager, I usually get engagement. What does that mean? What do you do? And engagement can mean a lot of different things, but I really like to think of the work that I do is I spend a lot of time supporting, developing, and engaging strategies with partners to better help people to gain access to public benefits. And that can look very different depending on the benefit we're focused on, the geography, and of course, that timeline. So BDT, we have direct service work in 6 states, and each of those states have their own engagement managers. There's 6 states are Pennsylvania, that's the one that I support, Colorado, Maryland, North and South Carolina, and New York. Now our office is located here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but our engagement managers are residents in the state in which they work in. Well, this helps bring a level of expertise of that area to BDT, and it ensures BDT stays abreast of the unique needs and priorities of each state. So now a little bit about me. I have been at BDT for, it'll be 4 years this April, and I have previous experience working in local government, in city council. I've led community office, doing community organization work. I've been a social worker for families experiencing homelessness, so that gives me that direct service experience. And I've even worked in research at a local university. And all of those experiences have helped me to see that collectively, those elements can help people connect to essential resources, and it can help streamline the process for attaining those resources. And that right there is what brought me to BDT. BDT does a nice job of harnessing the data, the direct service, the policy, technology to make access to benefit programs more efficient and dignified. You know, that secret sauce that Kiva was talking about. But we couldn't do any of that without good partners, without the trust and the support of the partners that we work with. BDT current partners consist of state and local government, community-based organization, and health systems. BDT work really closely with these entities to explore the many pathways that their target population would like to be served and supported. Well, with COVID-19 plaguing the entire globe, it definitely had an impact on BDT's operation and how BDT partners and how we relate to our partners. So for example, in addition to our targeted outreach model to meet the increased demand for benefits, BDT created new referral lines. Well, this allowed people to call us who was in need of application assistance for public benefits, whether they were on our original targeted outreach list or not. We were also able to expand and offer support to state agencies with their own individual hotlines. And so we were able to take some overflow calls and be able to offer assistance for them in their areas of expertise. And we were also able to update our own in-person application and enrollment software to become a lot more remote friendly, knowing that many of the users needed to now use our tools at home. So with that, we're really excited and there's so much more work to do. We are really ready to deepen our relationships with current states and to expand into new states in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Naja. I have to say the library is one of my favorite spaces in the office, but not my favorite space. It is the cafe. I wish it weren't the case, but when I walked into BDT, if I wasn't already sold, when I saw the cafe, I was like, here we are. Now, if you were joining us in person at this point, we'd likely be feeding you lunch. And it is lunchtime here on the East Coast, but since we can't do that, we can't join in the cafe space to see the beautiful view of Philadelphia's City Hall to enjoy lunch together. But we can stop by the cafe to meet Jess Maneely from BDT's policy team. Hi, Jess.
Hey, Mitchell. I'm standing right in front of the coffee bar in case anyone's not caffeinated enough by noon.
Right. So Jess, tell us a little bit about the policy team and your role at BDT.
Sure. So the work of the policy team involves monitoring like policy, including regulations, statutes, and other policy developments, and then also managing technical assistance policy projects, process improvement efforts with government agencies, and developing policy publications. So I primarily focus on WIC, which the long name for that program is the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, as well as SNAP, formerly food stamps, and a whole host of other benefit programs.
Thank you for that alphabet soup. That's definitely one of the special skills here at BDT. You've been at BDT for a few years and you've had a number of different positions across the organization in that time, is that right?
Correct. So actually this coming Monday is my 5-year anniversary with BDT. And I started as a BOS, just like Takiva, helping our clients navigate benefit screenings over the phone. And I really loved helping people through the application process, but I also felt compelled to make their experience easier. So that's kind of what led me to explore the system side of benefits access. And that's when I pursued my Master's of Public Policy at Temple, which the downtown campus was right across the street from BDT, super convenient. And yeah, my experience is unique at BDT because between my role now and where I started, I actually held multiple other positions, one of which was on the quality team, which is a team that makes sure that the applications we submit for our clients are as complete as possible before they get to a government agency. And also in the development team where you're at now, Mitchell, fundraising for our many complicated projects. So I've seen BDT from many different angles and have just such a deep appreciation for what we do here.
Well, I already told you this, but you're always welcome to come back to development. And I know that 2020 was a crazy busy year for policy. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So as everyone is well aware, COVID-19, the pandemic, and the recession that ensued generated just a constant flow of tremendously complex policy developments. So last March, our policy team sprung to action to keep abreast of those changes relating to our work in benefits access. Just a few examples, starting with the federal relief packages, which we monitored and which in some cases introduced whole new programs like pandemic EBT, which is for school children who had been receiving free and reduced price meals when they went to school in person, as well as new forms of unemployment compensation that covered people like gig workers who traditionally had not been eligible for unemployment compensation. Other important things that we monitored included like county office closures that affected how and where people could go to get assistance, and a whole host of federal waivers that changed benefit certification rules and processes for Medicaid, SNAP, WIC, and the rest. So our team kept a pulse on those developments and led regular briefings to update the organization so we could make adjustments to our technology, to our operations, and our client services wherever necessary.
You mentioned WIC. Can you tell us about some of your WIC work?
I sure can. So even despite the incredible and unanticipated effort that we needed to dedicate to monitoring policy during the pandemic, we also carried forward projects and launched new ones to support agencies that administer benefits like SNAP, Medicaid, and WIC. I'll spotlight WIC because I've been leading the WIC work in the last year, but also and more importantly, because WIC is such a critical component of the safety net. So in the past year, we've collaborated with more than 10 state WIC agencies. I see some of them on the line today. And we've been working on process improvements, evaluations, and public reports to inform policy and practice innovation. So a little bit more about those details. With WIC teams in Colorado, Massachusetts, Montana, and Virginia, and in partnership with the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, or CBPP, we wrapped up some evaluations of data-driven text outreach pilots that we had conducted back in 2018 and 2019. And in 2020, we compiled our findings into public reports because sharing our learnings broadly was super important to us so that more states could build on the data matching and the targeted outreach innovations that these 4 states tested. And actually that 2 of them, Massachusetts and Montana, both wound up institutionalizing. So we're continuing now to keep partnering with CBPP on a series of workshops. 7 states are participating in our workshops right now, and we're preparing to launch, while they're participating in the workshops, in preparation to launch modernization efforts of their own that look a little bit like the pilots that we did with the 4 previous states. So in the year ahead, I'm really excited to continue harnessing the power of policy, data, and technology to improve access to WIC and other benefits. But right now we're gearing up to launch a new text-based WIC outreach project in Michigan. So stay tuned to see what comes from that and what else appears on the horizon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jess.
Thanks, Mitchell.
As many of you know, BDT has ambitious goals to streamline benefits access for millions of people over the next several years, and Jess's team is integral to that work. Our policy efforts enable BDT to streamline benefits access for greater numbers of people than we could reach through our direct service alone. So now that we've wrapped up our visit to the cafe, and I hope some of you are eating lunch right now, we're going to head into one of BDT's conference rooms to meet Yvonne Smith from BDT's product and strategy team. Another way that BDT works to improve benefits access and to innovate new solutions that meet people where they are is through our products. So Jess mentioned our WIC work, which helps mothers and families with children. Yvonne is here to talk a bit about a digital tool that helps another population, college students. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Mitchell. Good to see you, and
Likewise.
glad to have so many partners here with us today. As Mitchell mentioned, I am Yvonne Smith. I'm a product manager here at Benefits Data Trust. I'm actually a mechanical engineer by training. I moved to Philly a few years ago to get my MBA at the Wharton School. And while I was there, I took several classes outside of Wharton in social impact. And one of those professors, Kat Rosketta, actually knew Ginger Zielinski, the past CEO of BDT. And that was the connection that brought me here. I thought that the work that was being done was a good blending of my interests of using technology in interesting ways and helping to improve the world around us. So I came to BDT in November of 2019. And if you were in the office, you'd actually probably find me in a conference room. I go to a lot of meetings. This is actually one of my favorite conference rooms because if you were at a different angle, there's a beautiful view of the city. And so it's great to just kind of stare out the window. One of the initiatives that was just getting started in November 2019 when I began at BDT was the work that Mitchell mentioned with a text-based chatbot that was developed to leverage artificial intelligence to provide free personalized assistance with the FAFSA, or the free application for federal student aid. We leveraged technology by Twilio and expertise from our partners at the College Board to develop the chatbot, and we launched it for the 2019-2020 school year. We launched the first year as a pilot, and it was great to work with those partners to get it off the ground. And after the end of the 2020 school year, we sat down with some college students with help from the College Board to get their feelings about the chatbot and also learn more about the barriers that they faced to improve the content of the bot. Around the same time, COVID-19 set in and everybody moved virtually. So FAFSA completions actually dropped by about 15% in 2020 due to likely to the pandemic. And we wanted to be able to reach even more students than we had in the small scale pilot because we knew that the pandemic was going to create even more of a financial hardship for families and reduce students' access to college counselors that they might normally have been able to see in person due to the stay-at-home orders. So we changed our approach a little bit on the fly in between the first year and the second year to actually allow even more students to sign up. And we expanded our outreach as well for the second year, which is right now, 2020 to 2021. So the development process was very collaborative across departments, which is indicative of all the work that the product team does. We really work across the organization and even working closely with partners to bring ideas into fruition. We were amazed to see that in the second year, our engagement with students increased by almost 5,000%. I'm not exaggerating. Engagement increased almost 5,000%. And we're still in the second year. We're actually going to be wrapping up very soon. And we're excited to do a full evaluation and get all the results from the second year. But we're excited to start planning the future of what we can do with the chatbot, explore other ways to innovate through technology and continue making an impact.
Thank you, Yvonne. A 5,000% increase is like unbelievable. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for our next segment, we're sticking around in the conference room and we're going to talk to Josiah, who's a member of our data and technology team. Data and tech are foundational elements of BDT's work and are key to our ability to scale our impact. So here to tell us a bit more about data and tech is Josiah. Hi, Josiah.
Hey, Mitchell. How's it going?
It's going pretty well, I think. I hope. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much. Hey, everybody. It is great to meet you. Welcome to the other half of our virtual conference room. My name is Josiah, just as Mitchell said, and I'm a data engineer on our data and analytics team, part of the data and tech team. To get started, I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself and my experience with BDT. I moved to Philadelphia and joined BDT in July of 2018. After my previous job as an educator had been kind of an all-consuming venture, and I was looking for kind of a change in career path, and I began working in the contact center, taking calls, of people who were applying for benefits and needed access to benefits. I started taking grad classes at Drexel for applied data science because I kind of had an aptitude and interest in math, statistics, computers, and that was the direction I kind of wanted to go with my life. Lo and behold, Benefits Data Trust had an opportunity for me as a data analyst. So I transitioned over to the data analytics team as an analyst after completing some of my classes and began working a lot on automation and on kind of optimizing some of our analytical platform, some of the tools that we have to, come up with the best insights for how our organization can help people in an optimal way. So I still work there as a data engineer, and I'd just like to think on, I think my experience really highlights some consistency in BDT as an organization, because when I was on the phone, I could see how BDT systemically in the world was empowering people financially through benefits access and also through knowledge about, what resources were available to them in their communities and are available to them still. But also, BDT leads by example, by empowering people, to move forward within the organization. And I'm just one example of that. We've heard from Takiva and from others who also started in the contact center and were able to, achieve what they wanted, in life by working at BDT. So that's something that always stands out to me about BDT and that I'm happy to share with you today. Shifting gears to looking at, what's been going on through the last year. 2020 was a chain of moments of crisis for many people in the country. And I think Benefits Data Trust really took that to heart as a call to empathy and a call to action, to move forward and not become overwhelmed with the individual problems that each of us have faced, but instead to say, all right, let's address those problems. Let's see these issues as opportunities to make a change and to help mitigate some of the damage that's done through this. In 2019 and at the very start of 2020, we in data and technology had a lot of plans to scale and to help the organization scale, moving into new states, launching new lists, having new partners, lots of plans to expand kind of our business. And once the COVID-19 pandemic hit, there was a real call to expedite some of those plans and, just make things happen sooner because the need arose. That we needed to, our work was more important than ever in some senses. Some of the big achievements that we had through 2020, initially our tech services team moved heaven and earth to get all of our staff remote and to get them remote in amazing time and just make sure that everybody's unique situation was supported so that we could have continuity of service in the contact center and across the organization, again, given the importance of our work in the position that we found ourselves. We also had to pivot our outreach strategy a little bit. A large part of what I do personally in the data and analytics team, is targeted outreach and making sure that we are able to outreach to people who, often fall through the gaps in the system and don't have access to benefits. And so, with the pandemic, there was a much larger generalized need for access and for awareness about benefits. So we began doing generalized outreach, in addition to some of our targeting, and we're able to use some of our targeted outreach, mostly to supplement some of the general outreach that we've done in different states and geographies. Another large thing that I'm really excited about that we've been working on in 2020 is, dealing with our data pipelines and our automation. As we scale, they're an often common way to scale, you hire more people to do more work, right? But much of our manual work in data and technology, we saw lots of potential gains in automation, in taking in new data sources, in some of our quality checks. And with the expedited need to scale, there was a need to build out that automation faster, because if we just hired more people to do the work, not only would it be financially more costly and we would be, using more resources than we would have been by automating, but also the time required to catch more people up to speed when we onboard sometimes and often was more time and more effort than it would be to automate some of those pipelines. So we've been doing a lot of automation, a lot of overhauling some of our long-standing processes that would not scale well, so that we are prepared to continue scaling at a greater rate and more maintainably, more resiliently than we otherwise would be able to. This automation also increases our data analysts' abilities and capacities to dive deep and generate meaningful insights for what BDT is doing, can do, and should be doing. As we move into 2021 and as we continue, in this year, I'm really excited to see the fulfillment of some of the things that I've seen in motion over the last couple of years. In 2019, we had documented some areas for improvement and done some initial time-saving automation. In 2020, we expedited some of the plans that we had, and we began reconsidering some of our legacy systems that we have in data and technology, things that are working and have worked, but could scale better. And if we want to, as an organization, grow, we may need to overhaul. And in 2021, we are going to finish some of the implementation of those changes. And we're going to begin building out new things. We're going to create scalable, maintainable, and efficient data pipelines. We're going to take in new data sources, which will enable our data analysts and the organization as a whole to make decisions based on new insights, new opportunities, and just empower us to do better at what we do. And also, those new data sources will enable us to hopefully reach new niches of the client base and help people who usually fall through the gaps even more efficiently and effectively than we're doing right now. Just to close out, my time with you, I'd just like to change gears a little bit and think more big picture, not so much about the how, which is what most of my job is focused on, but more about the why and the bigger picture. I've heard that our brains use different regions to process some of the mathematical, analytical, quantitative data that we receive, and some of the more qualitative, story-based narrative data that we receive. And in fact, there have been studies out there showing that people tend to empathize a lot when you provide one person's story or when you show one person in need. But when we see aggregate, numbers about how many people are in need, or when we put that one person in context of a huge problem, with big numbers, people tend to be more numbed to that. As somebody who works with big numbers a lot, I really find myself looking back to that initial experience I had in the contact center, speaking to individuals and hearing their stories, and try to always contextualize those big numbers as many, many, many instances of those individual conversations that I engaged with. So when I say that, as Trooper said at the beginning, we submitted over 93,000 benefit applications in 2020. That is 93,000 individuals, 93,000 stories, 93,000, lives changed, hopefully, through what we did. And I just find the power of that to be profound. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Josiah. So whether it's the work of our partnerships, policy, product, or data and tech teams, everything comes together in the contact center at BDT. Likewise, the contact center informs and enriches every part of our work, from client insights, like Josiah mentioned, to the culture of our staff. As Josiah mentioned, he started as a benefits outreach specialist. You've heard the same from Jess and Takiva and Shakina early at the beginning of our visit. 40% of the administrative staff at BDT started as benefits outreach specialists. I think that statistic speaks volumes about BDT's commitments to its people and also of its people to the work that we do. For our final segment today, we're going to meet with two folks from the contact center, Alvania and Yvonne.
Thank you, Mitchell. I am Alvania Boone. I am the Associate Director of Contact Center Services. I provide direction on strategic planning, development, and attainment of department and organizational goals for our direct service crew. I started at BDT in October of 2016 as a contact center manager, bringing with me 8 years of contact center experience from the for-profit world. That experience really afforded me the opportunity to streamline BDT's contact center processes through intentionally focusing on maximizing performance that would positively influence our client experience by introducing strategic coaching models for all roles in direct service. My current role is comprised of 3 main parts. So the first part is program management, where I want to ensure that we are effective and efficient in terms of performance across all the states that we serve. The second is all about the people management aspect. As you've heard time and time again, nearly 40% of BDT staff come from the contact center. So a large portion of my role focuses on professional development, career advancement, and retention of that top talent. And that third piece is evolution. So the growth that we have seen in the contact center, not just in 2020, but over the years, truly requires a strategic push toward innovation. Now, whether that's through the development of teams, software upgrades, or changes in procedure, evolution of contact center processes will continue to help us serve our clients in excellence in an ever-changing world. Now, if you visited the office in real life, when I'm not, spreading around much needed sunshine throughout the building, you can probably find me on the other side of this table here, knee deep in an Excel spreadsheet, analyzing the performance of direct service, or I will be speaking with a contact center supervisor about our current trends in direct service. One of those supervisors is the amazing Yvonne, and I will let her tell a little bit about herself.
Thank you, Alvania. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Hola y bienvenidos. My name is Yvonne Cintron. I'm a contact center supervisor with the New York City campaign. I'm excited to tell you that I began my journey with BDT in the fall of 2014 after moving back from a challenging year in Florida. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do for work, but I knew that I wanted to help others. This desire led me to BDT. I was hired as a bilingual benefits outreach specialist, giving me an opportunity to also assist our Spanish-speaking callers. Immediately, I was blown away by the support that BDT offers, not just to communities in need, but also our staff. Fast forward 6 years later, I'm lucky enough to still be a part of this dynamic organization as a direct support to outreach specialists in the contact center. As a coach, my work is to ensure that every caller is met with dignity and respect, and to empower outreach specialists to serve as educators as they navigate callers through the application process. We take great care to meet every caller where they are and to support one another. If you take a look behind me, you'll get a peek at our cafe and lounge area. In between the work, we stop in for a cup or a conversation and to enjoy the awesome city views. At Benefits Data Trust, our culture is our currency. And much like our work, it is unparalleled. We put people first and we keep up with what matters. Needless to say, this last year was not without its challenges. The sudden transition to a remote environment and the organization's exponential growth has inspired the ways that we build community and cultivate culture in the contact center. I believe that the challenges of 2020 have prepared Benefits Data Trust to be change agents as we carry on this mission to help people across the country. After all, adversity inspires opportunity and growth. It tests us. It pushes us to be better versions of ourselves. And this is the stuff that inspires others to do the same. I hope to meet you all in person one day, and maybe we can grab a cup at the cafe. Back to you, Alvena.
Thank you. Well said, Yvonne. Well said. So yeah, like most of our businesses, we closed our office and we really had to reimagine our work through a virtual lens. There were many immediate challenges that we were able to overcome due to previous organizational decisions that did afford us the ability to move to a remote environment quickly. But as you can imagine, there were just some scenarios we could not possibly plan for. But during this pandemic, we found that we were able to navigate through each scenario uniquely. In 2020, we've witnessed massive growth and promotion while navigating through some of these virtual adjustments. Yvonne is an example of that. She actually got promoted twice in 2020. Kudos to you. At the start of 2020, we only had 73 BOS and about 9 contact center supervisors. We currently have 133 BOS and about 14 supervisors. This also includes a newly launched group called the Universal Outreach Team. The Universal Outreach Team couldn't have come at a better time in 2020. The direct service team can sometimes experience staffing constraints that may cause impact to how we're actually able to handle workload. Now, to work within what we are able to control, we launched this team to help us manage that unexpected workload that we experienced throughout 2020. And as we move forward into 2021, we look forward to continuing to deliver an excellent client experience by keeping a happy, engaged, and supported staff. It has truly been a pleasure speaking with you all, and thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you all so much. And I want to echo everyone's thanks. We're coming to the end here. I'm so happy that we were able to do this today, and I hope everyone got something out of it. I'll kick it over to Trooper real quickly.
Wonderful. Thank you all for spending the hour with us. Thank you to my colleagues. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. You keep me on my toes and keep life interesting. And just a final thing to say that every morning before the day starts, I always really think that there is someone out there who's trying to keep their head above water, trying to keep their spirits whole, and they are hoping they see our number or they get a text from us, and they're hoping that maybe this one will work. And then they call and they hear the magic in the voice of our benefits outreach specialists, and the process goes through, and hopefully the application that's submitted in their lives are better. And that's exponentially the same, whether it's with our data work or our work with partners on policy and technical assistance that can help hundreds of thousands or even millions of people. And so let me just conclude by thanking each and every one of you for working with BDT, for engaging with us. I know you all are working around the clock trying to serve people and make things better. And we are just pleased and honored to be in this with you and look forward to more ahead. So thank you all so very much. Bye-bye.